Hey, what's going on everyone? I have been MIA recently, and that's because I am in the process of moving, and seeing as though I'm basically a one-man show at this point, with Lisa still in Germany, I've been pretty slow with respect to getting my stuff to the new apartment. I'm moving officially tomorrow. I'm getting a moving truck, and my family's gonna help me out a little bit. So this stuff behind me, this is pretty much all of Science Studio's inventory. You can't see most of it below me on the ground. That'll all be taken over there tomorrow, including all my just general living furniture, couches, beds, all that good stuff. So bear with me, this weird backdrop, very weird setting. I still wanted to make this video. It's been a while since I've uploaded one, and I think it's a hot one. You guys are gonna like this budget-oriented mindset that I have, the approach I'm gonna take to this video, because if you're comfortable buying used, I think there's a really good option on the market. Many people seem to be overlooking because this is a 2-generation-old card I'm gonna recommend, but it'll still pack a huge punch in 1080p and even some light 1440p. So if you wanna play Fortnite or PUBG, but you wanna do it on a solid budget, then this card might be for you. Stay tuned. This video is brought to you by PDF Element, your one-stop PDF viewer and editor. With it, you can annotate and convert Word and PDF files, take notes in an e-textbook for class, and sign important documents. It's actually an affordable and viable alternative to corporate competition. You guys know what I'm talking about, and you can pick it up now for your favorite operating system. It's very easy to use. You won't regret the switch. You can start a free trial, download for free on mobile, or buy outright with a 40% coupon baked into the very top link in this video's description. I'll give you guys a few seconds to click on it. You can pause the video. It's okay, I'll wait. Did you click it yet? So okay, enough of the suspense. What card am I talking about? It's the EVGA GTX 970. Now, any 970 will do. This one is a for the win card, which I'm pretty sure means it's using a custom PCB, better for higher power tolerances, sustaining higher overclocks. In general, if I'm wrong, I'll put something right here. But even if this was a reference 970 board, it's something you should consider. Not only because it probably missed the mining bullet, most people weren't buying 970s to mine with, these cards were owned by people from 5-6 years ago, but also because I got this particular card on eBay for $100. $100 even was all I paid for this, and I think it's gonna provide a great value alternative for those looking for around GTX 1060 territory, but who don't wanna spend $200 or $300, because 1060s are still pretty expensive right now. So when you see this card benchmarked and compared with other cards in today's video, know that I'm using this exact for the win EVGA card for those tests. Again, keep in the back of your mind that it's only $100 and it is used, so you might need to clean it. You might need to swap the thermal paste that's on there for something a little more up to date. It can get pretty crusty under there. But in general, I mean, as long as the card works out of the box, you did good, right? You did well. The toss-up as to whether or not the card works to begin with is the gamble that people play when they buy used components on eBay. But if the card works out of the box, I'd say you're gonna be good for the next at least 2 or 3 years. Cards aren't just gonna randomly die for the most part unless you're doing some really weird stuff with your system. Now, I didn't clean this card beforehand. I actually ran all my tests with the dust and everything else baked in here. And I just did that because I assumed that most of you weren't gonna clean these cards either. Most people tend to be on the lazy side when they buy something, even if it's used. They just want it to work out of the box and that's it. They're not gonna take the thing apart, swap the thermal paste, unless you're somebody who really cares about his or her hardware, which I respect. Most people honestly aren't gonna do that. So if there was any thermal limitation associated with the dust in this card, and there's quite a bit of it in here, it will be exhibited in these benchmarks. And you can see we used the exact same test bench we did for the last 2 or 3 benchmark videos here on the channel. Now I know that NVIDIA just released the newest official driver for Turing and Pascal cards and whatnot. I used the latest driver capable of supporting the 970 and compared that with the results of the previous driver for the 1070, the 1070 Ti, and the 1080 that we tested in previous videos. So you will see those cards compared to this one, not because I want this to look bad, but because I want you to know what you're missing by choosing to forego a $200 or $300 used card and instead going with something that only costs $100 US. And if you are buying used in the first place, I'm going to assume that you are somebody who values value. That didn't come out right. And you can see in our 3D Mark Firestrike results that our GTX 970 actually comes pretty close to outperforming our GTX 1060 in 1080p. This is a 6 gig 1060. I'm really impressed here. And again, for only $100, that's less than half the price of a new 6 gig 1060 in most markets. this is a really great value proposition. Let's see if it extends into some of our games. Starting off first with GTA 5, the 970 is again just barely losing to the 1060 in 1080p. We are maxing out most of the settings here, so that's why the frame rates seem a little low, and in 1440p, a similar story. I wouldn't recommend a 970 for 4K gaming, especially in GTA 5. You're just gonna have frame rates that typically dip well below 60 at medium to high settings. Up next is Witcher 3, a resource hog, graphically intensive game. You guys know by this point, I love using Witcher 3 because it's straight up just a graphics card battle here. The CPU, for the most part, is going to be okay, even if you have just a 4-core CPU or even a dual-core hyper-threaded CPU like an old-school i3. You're going to be typically fine on the CPU side if your clocks are decent. The graphics card will almost always be the bottleneck if you're willing to bump up those in-game settings. We're in the Ultra preset here with no Hairworks, and again, the 970 is just barely losing to the GTX 1060. Actually, about a 6 to 7 frame difference here, meaning that the 970 is significantly better from a value perspective. Now I'm going to breeze through these last few benchmarks, and that's really because the story is basically the same. Even in PUBG, which is a relatively new game, the 1060 does just a little bit better than it does with respect to the other tests, but again, this is a disparity I'm willing to take when seen in the context of how much I paid for the win GTX 970. We see a couple other games here where the gap narrows, and this of course is something that favors a 970 even more so, because if this card can keep up with the GTX 1060 yet remain less than half the price of a 1060, the only risk you're really incurring here is the used aspect of the card. Now, I do want to talk about a few other quirks with this one. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've ever seen dual 6-pin power connectors, and the reason why they have dual 6-pin is just because the power requirements for this specific board here meet the standards of 2 6-pins versus a single 8-pin or an 8-pin plus a 6-pin. So it's going to look a little weird having 2 6-pins running into this card for supplemental power, but again, that's the price you pay for a GTX 970 nowadays. Again, it's just something I'm not used to. Also, this one came with a back plate, and I think this was standard on For the Win cards, but for other GTX 970s it was not. You could actually buy the back plate separately for like 30 or 40 bucks from Newegg. I know I did that one time for a 970, but this one came with one, so it's a nice touch, keeps the card looking clean in basically any rig. And lastly, with respect to noise, how loud does this card run? Something else you're probably worried about because, again, it's an older card. Maxwell wasn't as power efficient as Pascal. That was one of the big advantages of Pascal, was you could get 980 Ti performance right in a 1070, but the 1070 consumed significantly less power, had a much lower TDP. That was a big improvement over the Maxwell stuff. But this card really didn't get that hot. It got to about 70, I want to say 73 degrees Celsius off the top of my head. That was something I didn't create a graph for. But 73C is perfectly fine for a card like this, and it was actually a quieter card than our GTX 1060. Now, the coolers are not the same. This isn't an apples to apples comparison, but I do want you to understand that this card is not going to be extremely loud. That's really what I want you to take away from this. It's not a very loud card at all, despite being based on 2-generation-old architecture. It's still great. You have not 3 DisplayPort outs, just a single DisplayPort out, so running 3 DisplayPort monitors from this card is going to be very difficult unless you daisy chain, and even then I'm not sure if it would work. I'll have to research that a little more. We have DVI-I, we have DVI-D, and then we have an HDMI port as well. So again, this is the older gen stuff. This is why it looks a little strange, but it's something you have to consider when buying an older card, because this again will not support 3 DisplayPort outs natively. So that's about it for this one, folks. Again, I apologize for the weird setting. I am in the process of moving, and it will be finished very soon. I want to give a shout out again to PDF Element for sponsoring this video. And I want to hear from you guys, especially in the comment section below, with respect to this card. What do you guys think about a GTX 970 in 2018 or 2019? We're pretty close to that mark, and it's kind of crazy to think about. The GTX 970 is something I would consider, especially in maybe a $400 to $500 rig. I'm actually going to put together a system, revolving around a budget of about $400 to $500, and I'm going to use this card because if that was my budget constraint, I would buy used. First off, I would take the risk because you just get so much more value assuming the card works, and if it doesn't, usually the eBay buyer protection guarantee covers you. But $100 for this kind of performance is incredible in 2018, especially coming off of the mining craze when cards were extremely expensive. The used market is lit right now, and that's why so many of my videos have been curtailed towards the used market. Now, I also have, I believe it's an RX 570 coming in, and I'll let you know how that testing goes very soon. So one more used graphics card video in the future. I'm not sure if I'll do that back to back with this one, but I'm also going to be testing a used AMD card just so that we're kind of incorporating both companies here. The NVIDIA market's a little more hot, I think, because there were more cards owned. I mean, just look at Steam surveys. NVIDIA cards are by far more popular with respect to how many people are using them. But I want to make sure that I test AMD too. You know, they deserve to be included because the RX 570s, 580s, 470s, 480s, even the 4 gig 470s and 480s are still viable options in 2018 if you want to spend around 100 to 120 bucks. So stay tuned for that. Again, leave a comment down below. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you feel the complete opposite, or if you hate everything about life. You guys can click that red subscribe button if you haven't already. Join us, become a member if you want to get fancy with it, and we'll catch you in the next one, hopefully in the new studio. This is Science Studio. Thanks for learning with us.